Welcome back to Off Stage Radio. I'm your gracious host, Chris Schnabel, and today we are joined by a very good friend of mine. Very good friend. Very decent friend.
Average friend.
He's a friend.
Yeah, no, we know each other. Acquaintance.
I met him once.
Yeah, we connect on LinkedIn or something. Who are you?
You know, it's funny you say LinkedIn because that's how I get most of my guests.
LinkedIn?
Yeah, LinkedIn. Yeah. Believe it or not, that's where most of them come from is LinkedIn.
I get nothing from LinkedIn. I'm not very good at it.
Really? You should get your LinkedIn game. But Derek Neville's with us. Derek, how you doing?
Good. How are you, Chris?
I almost didn't say your name. Almost, but I did. I got to it.
You did. That's all that matters, that you did.
I did get to it.
People that are watching this are going to be really confused for the last 3 minutes. They're going to be like, who is this guy?
Who is this guy? There's the name.
There we go. Yeah.
There's the name. For people joining us, background today is very nice. You actually get to see where the number one
spare bedroom.
Yeah. I was talking about yours. That's where the number one. They play right there. But we got the McCarthy Center in the background today because that's what we have for going for today. But so Derek's a good friend of mine. We went to school together. I really want to talk to you about what your degree is. So you're going for your master's in esports business. Now, correct. I can't imagine that's a master's program you can find at many schools. I mean, it's probably more and more schools are adding it, but
yeah, definitely. So it's actually only at the University of New Haven currently. I think there's, a handful of schools in the U.S. that are offering some kind of degree on the undergraduate level in esports business or something esports related. But University of New Haven, where you and I are alumnus of, it's the first North American school to offer a master's level program in esports business.
So how did you? Because we know each other through sports almost. That's where we originally met. So how'd you figure this out, and what made you decide to go into the esports route rather than sports route?
Yeah, I mean, I did my undergrad in sports management. I think you're aware of that, and it was pretty. Yeah, well, now they are people listening to this, watching this. So I got my undergraduate degree in sports management as well as marketing, little dual degree there. And I was, looking to do something in sports marketing. That's kind of what my background is. That's, the jobs I did out of college were sports marketing related. And then, COVID hit, and there weren't sports, there weren't jobs. So I was kind of sitting on the sidelines, to throw in a little sports metaphor there. I was benched for a while, looking for kind of what my metaphors. And that's two in one answer. So I'm on fire. So I was kind of looking to see what my next step was going to be, what my next move was going to be. And I'd always known about esports. Like, I knew it existed. And I knew it was big and that it was something I should be following, but I just didn't because I had regular sports to follow, traditional sports, I guess you would call them. And then the pandemic happened and everything was shut down. I was bored. I didn't have sports to watch. I'm sure you were bored. You didn't have sports to watch.
Of course.
March Madness got canceled. Baseball, was that going to happen? Who knows? So
we're still up in the air with baseball.
Yeah, I mean, come on, Nationals, pull it together. So I was scrolling the DraftKings, reminding myself of a happier time, and they were offering a League of Legends contest and like a Madden Sim contest, and I was like, well, got nothing else to do, why not? So I did some research, made a lineup for League of Legends, stayed up until 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time so I could watch the Korean broadcast of it, so I could see what I was losing money on. And I don't really know. I didn't know at the time, at least, what was happening. But every night, because I had nothing else to do, I would set a lineup, stay up until 3-4 o'clock in the morning watching, the Korean and the Chinese League of Legends leagues. And I kind of started to realize there's a huge. This is big. This is bigger than I thought it was. This is the future of sports entertainment, is going on Twitch and watching competitive video games. So I reached out to some professors at the University of New Haven because I knew they had started an undergrad program in esports and that they were looking to start up a master's degree. So I got in on a call with the director of that program, got some information, submitted my application, and was lucky enough to be accepted into this first kind of class to go through it.
So before you got into that during the pandemic, did you even pay attention to things like League of Legends? Did you play it at all? Like,
I didn't. I mean, I played video games, casually with my friends. Call of Duty, Madden, 2K, UFC game. So, and I knew it existed. I knew there was a whole competitive scene, and I knew it was big, but it just wasn't something that I was super interested in. Learning more about at the time. I respected people that were into it, respected people that played video games competitively, but that side of things, the competitive side didn't really tickle my fancy. I was more into just casually playing with my friends. And then, as I started to get into it and realized, it's very similar to traditional sports where there's teams and storylines and fan bases and you get, absorbed into that. And the more content that you can take on is, better. And the other thing that really stood out to me was in traditional sports, you might have a couple of stars. You have, a Mike Trout, a Bryce Harper, these big names in baseball, but you don't always get to know the personality behind them. Whereas in, esports, a lot of that is, what you're into is the personality. Especially if it's, maybe not a pro gamer in like the Call of Duty league, but someone that's streaming, as their profession, and you're watching their stream, you're tuning into their personality more so than their actual gameplay, which you don't always get in traditional sports.
Yeah, and so going into the program now, are you becoming more of a streamer yourself, or are you just kind of trying to go more on the business side?
No, I am not the streaming type. I've never streamed. I'm more of a stream consumer now than I was before. I think, obviously during the pandemic, you saw, Twitch and YouTube kind of blow up as streamers got more popular, as, people in our demographic kind of moved from traditional sports to filling their time with streamers.
I know a ton of people that were trying to become streamers in the pandemic.
Yeah, no, I respect the hustle, but I don't think it's something I would be great at. But I enjoy, consuming that content, and hopefully I can help them make some money once I get done with this degree.
So do they like kind of push you in a direction like, hey, pay more attention to streamers, or maybe you should try streaming to see what it's like, or anything like that with like your professors?
Yeah, so I mean, there's at least in the undergrad program, I know they did a course kind of partnered with Twitch where they actually made their own Twitch streams, and that was kind of their homework, was to set up a stream and go through that process. Obviously, I didn't go through that undergrad course, and I just started in January, so I'm only in class number 2. So we haven't really dove into anything super specific. It's we just finished that kind of introduction class. Mm-hmm. So it's still kind of, figuring out exactly what path I want to go down, what opportunities are out there career wise. It does parallel traditional sports to an extent where, there are some transferable skills. So I think personally, I would kind of be looking to go down the path of, sports marketing, partnerships, which is what I did in the traditional sports side. But there's tons of opportunities, and the professors are great about getting us connected with industry experts. So if I reach out to my professor, I'm like, hey, this is what I'm interested in. I'm interested in, streaming. He's more than happy to get me connected with somebody, in that industry, or maybe, get me talking to the professor that teaches that streaming class.
Yeah, and it's a big argument here, especially when we're in class, if sports and esports, like, are esports an actual sport?
Yeah.
You have people that are all for it and they say it is. There are people that are like, no, it's just playing games. How do you feel about that argument?
Yeah, so that was the first slide of the first class I took, the introduction class, was is esports a sports? And the next slide was the Peter Griffin meme, just going, who the hell cares? And I kind of agree with that point. There are obviously, a lot of skills that goes into being a professional caliber video game player. Are they all, the same skills that you go into traditional sports? No. But at the end of the day, they're producing a product. People are watching. People are spending money. They're spending time. So, do you want to classify it as a sport? Yes or no? That's kind of up to you. But I don't think it really matters because it's not going anywhere. It's only growing, and they're only making more and more money. So whether you want to call them athletes or not, I don't think they really care.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't really affect their job at the end of the day.
Yeah, and it's funny you say it's a growing thing. I mean, even baseball last year when the pandemic hit, they had the Players League where I think it dragged on a little too long, but they had a player from all 30 teams in this one league and they played each other. I do remember Joey Gallo saying that he wanted somebody to come in and play for him because he was how long it was taking.
Yeah,
it's funny. That makes it funny to me because everybody's like baseball's long and this and that and it's boring to people. And then you got the players playing a game of baseball being like it's getting too long. Somebody else to come in. It's like maybe there's a point there. But
yeah, definitely. And you saw that with NASCAR too. During the pandemic when NASCAR was shut down, they were doing sim racing, and you had some of the top race car drivers spinning out on turn one because it's a different different feel than what they're used to.
Did they use controllers or can't you use the actual?
Yeah, I believe partnered with they partnered with sim racing. And they had the whole setup with it almost looked like they were in a car with the wheel, the pedals, everything. And I think some of them, also had the setup already ahead of time to use as kind of a training mechanism because it's so detailed now, and the courses, look almost identical to what they're driving on a week-to-week basis.
Well, people say like that competitive video games and stuff like that is going to become a lot of sim-based stuff. I don't know if you've seen Aaron Judge trains with a simulation batting cage. Like He has a batting cage. He puts the goggles on. He has the bat, and the pitches come in. And he simulates it, and I guess the bat feels like you actually hit it, and all the other stuff. And they're saying, well, if he can do that, why can't people just do virtual home run derbies and virtual stuff like that? I mean, to me, why don't you just have a real home run derby? I guess COVID pending, but it's really changing the whole landscape of everything because now you can have a virtual home run derby where you can do it from your place in the central time zone. I could do it from here in Spokane, Washington, and we could be actually doing a home run derby against each other in the same setting at the same field. It's crazy how much the simulation's kind of taking over, and they're promoting it very well, obviously, because Twitch is doing just fine.
Yeah, and I think it also, reaches a different demographic as well. Once you make something virtual and kind of call it video game or something along those lines, obviously as a baseball fan, I think that there's somewhat of a issue in the sport with marketing their top athletes and kind of growing that audience and diversifying that audience. So anything they can do to bring in a younger audience, I think they should be open and receptive to.
See, that's the funny part. You say the marketing. They tried to do this Players League to try to bring people in through Twitch, which is in retrospect a great idea. But they somehow still messed it up because they still did it wrong. They should have done baseball, obviously, with the show because it's baseball, but they also should have them doing other things or promoted the players after the Players League. Because I know like people like Tommy Canley actually became a streamer after the Players League, but it was never promoted again. And they also didn't promote people like Blake Snell enough, who was absolutely fantastic to watch. He's such a personality. Like, this was the opportunity for Major League Baseball to show off these personalities. Joey Gallo was hilarious during the whole thing, but they never showed it off. They would be like, you'd see a highlight on the MLB app that says like Joey Gallo walks off against Giolito. It's like, no one cares. Show the personalities of these guys. That's the whole point of streaming. Like, yes, they're good at games, but it's the personality that draws the people in. Not that he'll walk off home run. Who cares? I can walk off home run in the show. I don't care about that.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think you see a lot of, not a lot, but you see athletes, especially the ones with, bigger personalities. I think, Gordon Hayward, Karl Anthony Towns, they're doing, streaming, and it's a great way to grow their own personal brand, especially for these athletes, like you mentioned, Gallo, Cano, who have, these great personalities and maybe don't get to show it off in their sport. Baseball fans are sitting, rightfully so, pretty far back. It would be dangerous for them to be right up close and personal while somebody's, swinging at 100-mile-an-hour fastball. But this gives them a great opportunity to be, face to face and interacting with those fans, and kind of show off a side that maybe they don't get to show off in the game of baseball with those unwritten rules and, no personalities allowed on the field.
They need to get rid of all of that. Like, so when the pandemic was happening last year and baseball actually started, I think it was during the extended spring training period, there was an interview. Meredith Marakovich, who's the Yes Network reporter, was talking to, I believe it was Aaron Judge. And they asked, like, what do you do during your time? You guys are all cooped up in the hotel. And he was like, we just play video games. That's all we do. And it's like, that should be a bigger story, because like Tommy Kahnle had a stream. It was a huge stream for people that knew about it. But again, it could be something that was promoted. It was Tommy Kahnle, Zach Britton, Gleyber Torres, Aaron Judge, and I don't remember. I think it was Gio Urshela. Like, 4 or 5 of the biggest names on the Yankees were streaming. Like, you could have actually interacted with them.
Yeah.
Like, why isn't that promoted by Major League Baseball? Like, hey, join this stream. You'll be able to watch Aaron Judge play Call of Duty. Like, they weren't playing the show. They're playing Call of Duty. Like, you can actually see these guys' personalities up close in action. And like, they had such a good idea. And it's like when you get that idea and you don't know what to do with it. You're like, you get something. You're like, what? It's like a dog. Dog finds a stick. It's like, what do I do with it now? Like, dog catches the bird. What do I do now? Like, that's what they had. They had this great idea that they could really promote and market themselves. And then they're like, but what do we do with it? And then they just completely dropped the ball. They didn't know what to do. And they didn't promote these guys' personalities at all. Like I said, Blake Snell and Joey Gallo had amazing personalities. And then somebody became a star, Amir Garrett, who's becoming more of a star in the fans' eyes because his personality on Twitch was really good. And one more person that became a Twitch streamer that they never promote was Hunter Pence. Hunter Pence. If you would have told me Hunter Pence
that's an interesting.
That's what I was going to say. If you would have told me
guy.
Hunter Pence was a streamer, I'd be like, yeah, I'll pass. But he has a very good personality for it. But you would never know, because his on-field personality, his off-field personality are two different things. His on-field is, I'm here, I'm ready to play, I'm goofy looking, but I'm going to get the job done. And in streaming, he has a great personality, but it's never promoted, and it's pretty upsetting to see. But
yeah, and I think looking at streaming in general, but obviously, with athletes, I think it kind of has to be organic. If it's coming across as something that MLB is pushing, it's going to kind of feel forced to the fans, and especially the gaming esports streaming fans. They want that kind of more organic feel than being forced. So I think there is a thin line that MLB has to walk between letting it happen organically and being involved. And I think there's some organizations that could walk that line and do a great job. Is MLB one of them? Their past history tells me no, but as esports and streaming are becoming bigger, I think a lot of these leagues and organizations are bringing in people that are experts in that, and that's what they're focusing on. because they realize that it's such a great opportunity to put their product and put their stars and their personalities in front of the fans, new potential fans, viewers. So it's, I think it's becoming a focus of organizations, of leagues, teams, brands, and really something that they need to figure out. How do we do this the right way? How do we do this organically and make it seem, like a natural interaction with fans rather than a forced promotional piece?
And that's what the Players League felt like. It was
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, there's literally video of Joey Gallo being like, because somebody else on the team, I don't remember who it was. I think it was the backup catcher actually wanted to do it. I think it's Robinson Chirinos wanted to do it. And at one point he's like, I might just tag him in to do this because because they were being forced to play every second day. It's not like he gets to create his own schedule or anything like that.
And
it was definitely
who was
forced.
it? Was it Bauer? It was probably Bauer. It's always Bauer. That put together the wiffle ball game.
Yeah,
Um,
I think.
Was it wiffle ball or softball or
I don't know. There was the game in Miami you're talking about.
I think Arizona. I want to say
Arizona. Yeah, I don't think it was wiffle. I think it was baseball. I think they played
baseball?
a game.
Yeah, was
I think
Bauer
there and like a bunch of stars were there.
Yeah, was it? And it was Bauer who just like tweeted out like, "Hey, let's play. Like, let's meet at this field."
Yeah.
And then I think he probably streamed it on Momentum or whatever his platform is called. But that is organic and gives a great insight into the personalities of the players without feeling forced.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the more hands off you can be with some kind of structure is really where you're going to get your best results.
See, I don't mean like they should be like putting out like, oh, this is blah blah streaming schedule.
But no.
When they do something like something that was not promoted by MLB, which was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. And if I find the video, I'll send it to you after, and I'll put it in the link of this. So Joey Gallo was on the show, and he's going through. So if you've never played the show, they have the menu, and on the menu there's like a tall like play now one, and then there's the small like season mode, this that. And on the play now there's a picture of an active player on your favorite team. Obviously his favorite team was the Rangers. And he goes through, he's like, look at Elvis Andrews, man, like beautiful, like great picture of him. And then they go to someone else. They go to whatever the first baseman's name is. Like, okay, it's great swing, and they're like, now look at me, and his face was like confused. His mouth was wide open, and it was him reacting to his picture on the show, and it was hilarious. It was unbelievably hilarious. I only found that because it was on like Reddit. Like MLB never promoted this, and it's like that would have been something that could have been like push out notification. Joey Gallo sees himself, whatever.
Yeah, and that sounds like something that would have been great for like Twitter or TikTok or one of those platforms.
But it was great, and like I said, some of those guys had good personalities, and I mean, what was it? I think it was an NFL player the other day, like live on stream, was like he signed with a team, like signed with the Steelers or re-signed with the Steelers or something like that, and you heard it live on stream, him talking to his agent about how he just signed. Like he didn't realize what was happening.
I didn't see that. I'll have to look for that.
He like re-signed. I don't remember if it was the Steelers or something like that, but he was like on the phone with his agent, and he didn't mute himself, so you heard him say like, "Oh, we're Steelers? Yeah, all right, cool." Like they signing with a team. So like it broke on Twitch, and I think you're going to see more of that too.
Yeah, I think especially with baseball, I feel like that's kind of a direction that Bauer is going. I know with his like free agency and if you go back and look on his Twitter, he had a lot going on, a lot of YouTube videos he put out about free agency and having his agent involved and being transparent. And I think Bauer is a great he seems like an interesting dude, but he seems like he's really pushing for kind of creating a platform or opportunities for players to create their own brand to show off their personality. So I'm all for that. I'm all for seeing the what's behind your favorite athlete.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes he wanted his decision to be like LeBron James. It's like, but you're not. You're not even close to what
that's
LeBron
fair.
James
I mean,
is.
he won a Cy Young, but it was not a not the same career that LeBron has had going into free agency.
I'm not a hater of Trevor Bauer, but one thing I will say about him, and it's mostly because of the money he got, which he got stupid money. Like he gets paid like 40 something million a year by the Dodgers. He won that Cy Young against probably the worst two divisions in all of baseball. He played the AL Central and the NL Central for
fair.
a full season. But I have to give it to him because when you went against the Braves, one of the best offenses in baseball, he shut them down completely. So I'll give him that. But when you look at that Cy Young, I mean, you don't even need to put the asterisk next to it because of the shortened season. You need to put it there because he versed the Pirates and the Royals and the Indians and like the diminished White Sox, and he versed you could just name off I mean, Kristen Yelich hit like 100 last year. That was probably the best hitter in the entire Central. So
we'll see what happens now that he's out west.
Yeah, I mean, now you're going from teams like the Pirates to teams like the Padres.
So
that'll be a little scarier, but good for him. Make your money. I thought the trying to do the LeBron decision was just a goofball move. It's like the only person in baseball that could do something like that's Mike Trout, and Mike Trout wouldn't do that in a million years.
No, he's probably also like, I think they could do a much better job of giving Mike Trout a platform.
Well,
I feel like I know Mike Trout from being really good at baseball and Subway commercials, and
he's a weatherman.
But at the same time, I'm not sure if Mike Trout has a personality or
that's what I was about to say. Like, you're talking about, like, you're saying I wish they can promote him. What are his 3 top things you know about him? He's a very good baseball player, that he's in Subway commercials, and that he wants to be a weatherman. Like, those are very tough things to promote.
He's from New Jersey.
New Jersey.
That's
he's a Philadelphia
fan. Thing I know about him.
He's a big Philadelphia fan. Everybody thought he was going to go to the Phillies, but then the Angels was like, "Here, take $450 million. Stay here."
Hey, look at that! 5 things about Mike Trout.
There you go. 5 things, and we've listed them better than Major League Baseball.
This just became the top Mike Trout podcast in the
country. Well, the problem with Mike Trout is it's hard to give him a platform because of where he plays. It's not impossible, obviously, because Mookie Betts was the number 1 selling jersey this year. Now, granted, that has a lot to do with them going to the World Series, and Mike Trout's been to the playoffs 1 time his entire career, which is very disappointing. We don't get to see Mike Trout in the playoffs more often. But, you don't have the national stage because he's never in the playoffs. He plays at 10 o'clock at night for Eastern Standard Time, which is the biggest time zone in the country, especially when it comes to sport. You have all this stuff working against him. Plus, his personality is not like a very promotable personality. Like, Mookie Betts has shown more of his personality now in LA than he even has in Boston. I mean, the best things he knew about Mookie Betts was, 1, he was very good at baseball. 2, he used to be a second baseman. 3, he bowled. Like, it's the same thing with Mike Trout, that wanted to be a weatherman. Like, his next best thing is that he's a professional bowler. It's very hard to sell points on that.
I'm down with bowling. So,
you're down with bowling.
You sold me on Mookie Betts when you said Boston. But then you further sold me. I doubled down when you said bowling.
Now, but that's what I mean. Like, but we're talking about you. That's a very niche market. Is
Boston Red Sox bowling fans?
Yes.
Okay.
Very niche market. Although he did go to the lanes right down the street. We used to go there all the time when I lived out in Boston. I don't remember what it's called though. It's like literally right down Lands. It's the end of Lansdowne, and apparently he went in there he was able to go in like 2 hours before they opened and just bowl. Like, he would just go in there and he would bowl for 2 hours, and then he would just go to the park. And
are you good at bowling?
Me?
Yeah, you.
Oh, I didn't go there 2 hours early.
I didn't say you did. I was just asking if you were.
Oh, okay. No, I'm probably not. I haven't bowled.
No, me neither.
Since like my 14th birthday party. I went to not mine. I went to a bowling party, I think. I didn't get birthday parties like that.
Not at the bowling alley?
Not at the bowling alley. No.
Where were your birthday parties?
At my house, probably. Actually, I will say I went to a lot of Yankee games for my birthday. a lot of Yankee games for my birthday. So bowling alleys, Yankee games.
Like with your friends, or like your mom would just take you to like a Saturday game?
So it's funny you bring that up. When I was younger, I always wanted to go to the Yankee games with my friends. But now that I'm older, I love going with my mom. I love going to Yankee games with my mom. She's a huge Yankees fan. She loves going to the games. And for the last probably 6 or 7 years, as I've gone to Yankee games, now I don't get to go as many. But when I went to go to Yankee games, I would invite my mom before I would invite any friends to go.
Well, I have a follow-up question then, because we went to a baseball game together. Yep. It wasn't a Yankee game, but it was at.
Yeah, it was. Wasn't it? It was Yankees Red Sox. Yeah, remember Aaron Judge went into the stands?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Or, was it at Yankee Stadium?
No, it was at
Fenway.
It was at Fenway. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, it was the Red Sox game. The Yankees happened to be playing in it.
Yes.
I just lost you. But back to my question. So we went to a Red Sox game that the Yankees were playing in.
Yeah.
Are you telling me that you didn't enjoy it because I'm not your mom?
It wasn't for my birthday.
No, but you said that you prefer going to games with your mom. So I'm starting to think that you didn't have.
Actually, I want to say we've been to 2 games. I'm pretty sure. Didn't we go one against the Angels and we sat in center field?
Yes. I want to say that was when they retired Ortiz's number.
Correct? Yeah. Yep. So we've been to 2 games. I enjoyed it. I didn't say I only enjoy going to it. I've said I've enjoyed going.
So you enjoyed it. You just wish that you were at those games with your mom instead of me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. That's fair.
That's a fair point. I'd rather be there with my family than my friend family, my blood family.
Your LinkedIn connection.
My LinkedIn connection. Yeah. That's how you reached out about the game.
Yeah. What is it called? In-mailed you?
I have no idea.
Premium mailed you?
We're going to wrap this up in a minute. I will say that it was the most disappointing thing in the world when we went to the Ortiz retire, and it was against the Angels, and we had the center field seats right in the triangle of Fenway. And I was like, this is amazing because we're going to be here. We're going to see Mike Trout right up close. Mike Cameron started in center. And I was like, I've still never seen Mike Trout play.
I have not either.
I went to every Red Sox game for 3 years because I worked there. I've never seen Mike Trout. He's never played at Fenway Park in those 3 years.
I'm going next Saturday. I'm going to the Astros versus A's game.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Trout won't be playing in that game. But if I go to an Astros versus Angels game, I'll send you Snapchats of Mike Trout.
Now that I'm not on the West Coast, I might take a trip down to LA when I am actually taking a trip to Seattle to see the Yankees play in a 3-game series against the Mariners. I might extend that into whenever they play the Angels so I can go see that stadium as well. But Derek, it's been great having you on. Everybody out there, happy opening day. Derek, where can people find you if they want to look you up?
LinkedIn. Please, I need more connections. Derek Neville on LinkedIn. I don't really use social media, so just send me a letter in the mail. I think if you just write my name on it, the post office will get it here. So
that's probably true. There's probably only one of you in the entire.
No, there's definitely only one Derek Neville in the world. So.
Yep, and you can find us at Offstage Radio on Twitter, off.stage.radio, on Instagram, and facebook.com/offstage radio. You can also find us on Schnabel Productions. That's SCHNABEL Productions.com/offstage radio. You can find us anywhere you get podcasts and YouTube and all that good stuff. You can also go on iZag and find us. And finally, before I wrap this all up, let's go Zags. Final 4. Let's pull through.
Yeah, are you not going to mention that my Houston Cougars are also in the Final 4?
No, I'm not going to mention Houston.
All right, that's cool.
We're at iZag Radio, not iHouston Radio, not iCougars Radio. This is
all right.
Go Zags.
Baylor, because that's who I picked in my bracket.
Is that who you picked? Somehow in our bracket, I'm in first. It makes no sense. But we're gonna wrap this baby up. Happy opening day, everybody. Derek, thank you for joining us. If you're into esports, definitely check out that program. It sounds very interesting, especially if you're into that. I mean, that's such a cool thing to be going into. And yeah, go check it out if you're into that. And we'll see you next week on Offstage Radio.
Sure. Sure. See ya.